Hello, good evening. It's another edition of PM Express. And my name, as always, is Stephen NT. Now, Article 78, I'm sure many of you might know of the provisions of some of the constitutional articles. Now, Article 78 1 of the Constitution provides that nominees by the President for ministerial appointment have to be approved by Parliament before they can act or hold themselves out as ministers or deputy ministers of state, members of the Council of State, and such other persons specified under any other enactment. Even though the 1992 Constitution does not provide the manner in which Parliament should give approval to the President's nominees, the Standing Order of the House provides for the Appointments Committee composed of the First Deputy Speaker as chairman and not more than 25 other members. Out of the 25 members of the committee, 14 are from the majority side, while 11 are members of the minority, with the chairman excluded. Over the years, what has been the true relevance of this committee in grilling and scrutinizing persons who come before them? We don't exactly know, because there've not been clear-cut research to tell us exactly the relevance of the grilling that the nominees undergo. Now, there is also a constitutional provision that allows for a sizable number of ministers to be selected from Parliament. Now, these parliamentarians are colleagues and friends. How transparent is the system of vetting? We'll find out tonight on PM Express. There have also been accusations of bias, evasiveness, dishonesty and inconsistency against both members of the committee and nominees. With the exit or boycott of the minority members on the committee, has the floodgates open for all to swim through? Is that what you think? You scratch my back, I scratch your back kind of situation. What are your impressions of the vetting so far, and what do we need to improve our governance and selection of the right person into public offices? So tonight, these and many others we're going to explore on the show on PM Express. You can join us by text 1760 or post your Facebook comments on our Facebook walls, facebook.com/Joy News on TV. We're active on Twitter as well, so you can send us tweets at Joy News on TV, and we'll be glad to read them here live. Tonight, I have with me in the studio Bishop Prince Benny Wood, who is a spokesman for the Concerned Clergy Association of Ghana. The group presented a petition to Parliament over the vetting of some of the nominees. We'll talk about that later. And now Kofi Bento is also expected to join us. He'll be joining us very soon, and we will have a chat. And then later on in the show, we'll get on to the phone lines to speak with Dr. Clement Apak, who is convener for the Forum for Governance and Justice. Alfred Agbeshi, who is MP for Ashiaman, is Deputy Chairman of the Appointments Committee. We'll also speak to him and then put some of the issues and questions that will come up before him as well, so he can make his comments. So, Bishop Benny Wood, it's great to have you in our studios.
Thank you for having me, and good evening to your viewers.
Yeah, so, I mean, while we wait to discuss the detail of the processes of the vetting, what are your concerns, really? You've put up a petition to the committee. Tell us exactly what you want.
Yeah, thank you once again. Let me start as a pastor. Let me start with a quotation from the Bible. 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 8 says that if the trumpet does not sound a clear call, who will get ready for battle? So we always need a clear sound to be able to get ready for battle. If the sound is discordant, it gives us wrong direction. I think.
What's the context of this scripture, really, in connection with your petition?
The president is the commander-in-chief.
He needs to sound.
He has to give a clear sound for Ghanaians to follow. If his sound is discordant, it creates problem with the populace. That's the situation we find ourselves in.
And right now, you think his sound is discordant?
He's giving
because you disagree with
it's not because I disagree.
One of his nominees?
Because I'm a Ghanaian, and I think that we must always do things the way Ghanaians
do it.
I have a saying that the Ghana we came to meet, if we can't make it better, at least let's leave it the way we met it. You see, my issue, or let's say the issue the concerned clergy we are raising is fundamental to the very dignity and existence of the people of this nation. I think that some few people who've attempted to respond to the issues we raise have missed their point completely, because they are answering questions we have not asked and raising issues we've not talked about. The reason I'm saying that, even yesterday, if you look at the appointment committee, you see that we think that the chairman for the committee did a great disservice to the people of Ghana, because he did not go into our petition. Initially, he said that there was a problem with the signing, which was just an exchange error. But when it was corrected, he still did not go into it. So you can see that even the nominee herself was boxed up in the corner. We saw that this confusion would come. So we took our time, and in our petition, we broke down the various segments of our difficulty we have with her up. So if the chairman had allowed his people to go into our petition, I believe that the case would have been sorted out yesterday. Now, the issue is that we, as Concerned Clergy Association of Ghana, have never said anything against the human rights of homosexuals. We've never said that.
But what have you said?
Beautiful. What we have said is that they don't have the civil right to engage in that act. And
civil rights?
Yes, and so we want her...
Who are you to question their civil rights?
Because...
I thought you were questioning their religious commitment.
I've never said that.
Or the commitment of Ghanaians in a religious sense.
Beautiful.
I
have never even mentioned anything in the Bible
it's
since
beyond
I started
you.
speaking. It's not. You see, I've never said anything concerning the Bible. I've never quoted from the scripture since I started speaking, because I know that it is the likelihood of people trying to jumble the whole thing and say it's a religious advocate.
Let me make reference to your petition.
Yes.
You claim that Nana Oyelitha, a known gay rights activist, that's how you describe her, will be detrimental to Ghana's image if approved by Parliament. And you're also kicking against the newly appointed Executive Secretary of the President, Raymond Atuguba, who it claims has liberal views on homosexuals. Your spokesperson, yourself, sorry, you allege that Dr. Atuguba, who was also the Executive Secretary of the Constitutional Review Commission, failed to make any recommendations to the President on the subject of homosexuality, despite the fact that 98% of the submissions that the Commission received regarding homosexuality opposed it. This is your stance, factual.
Thank you very much. What you read is an interview. The initial interview I granted is not the petition. The issues we have in the petition are here. What we did was to try to explain, because we saw that yesterday, that all the answers Nana Oyelitha gave was in response to human rights, and so you are likely to sympathize with an issue that is not an issue. Because in Ghana here, in the history of Ghana, in the records of Ghana, you go to the police, you go to any police station in Ghana, and let the police pull out a docket that indicates that homosexuals or lesbians have been harassed in Ghana. You won't find any.
Oh, but where have you been?
Beautiful.
There was an attack in Jamestown where they were almost hounded out of their homes. Did you hear that?
I have called on the police on 2 occasions to release the report to public, because you see, what we are doing is hearsay. The police who did investigation on that issue have not come out to tell us exactly what they found. So it is important, because I've also heard the Jamestown boys speaking that they did not do what people say they have done.
Really?
Yes. So that is why we are saying that we cannot even just stand on the basis of the Jamestown event, because once we do that, then we seem to forget how we have lived together as a people. We try to project an image as if in Ghana we are so callous, we are so, we don't understand people, we don't have feelings for people. There is no country in Africa that is hospitable than Ghana.
Do you have a friend who is gay?
I schooled with them. I went to a boarding house, boys' school, so I know what I'm talking about. You understand? It's not that we live with them, we play with them, we go out with them, we eat with them, we do everything.
But
until
the same
today,
Bible says light and darkness cannot associate itself together. So if you were in the same boarding school with people you claim are gays, are homosexuals, and you tolerated them through 5 years of your base, O-level education and perhaps 2 years of your sixth form, you should tolerate them in the wider civil society.
Listen, that's what I'm saying. We are not talking about human rights.
What are you talking about?
We are talking about civil rights.
Which kind of civil rights?
Section 104 of the Criminal Code
says what?
Says that the act of unnatural carnal knowledge is against the law.
Against
That's what
the
we're
law.
saying.
Is that expressly stated there that way?
Beautiful. In 2003, the law was used to prosecute gay people. So once it has been used, it is a law we must abide by.
2003?
3 years.
Prosecutions in court against gay people?
Let me read something here for you. This was published on modernghana.com, 7 June 2011. It says the Director of Public Prosecutions, Ms. Gertrude Akins, has indicated that persons caught engaging in homosexual activities could be liable for prosecution. Responding to calls for the country to enact laws to ban homosexuality, she stated that Section 104, that's a Director of Public Prosecution, she says Section 104, 1B of the Criminal Code made the act a criminal offense. That's the Director of Public Prosecutions. And here he says that in 2003, an Accra Circuit Court jailed 4 gay men for engaging in homosexual activity. Clear, no court has overturned this ruling. So it must stand. So I'm surprised lawyers are going out saying that it's not clear when the law has been applied.
So what exactly is your problem?
We are not truthful to ourselves. In Ghana, the lawyers and advocates, they are not truthful to ourselves. We are leading people to danger, and we are thinking of our profession rather than the interests of the people. We don't care. We don't love them. I am passionate because I know how difficult it took for us to bring some of these people when they come and they talk to you, when they cry and they share their feelings to you. You understand? They see themselves, not even what people say. They themselves, when they are alone, they feel bad about what they are putting on themselves. It's sad. Sometimes when I speak about this issue, I feel so bad about it. I see this advocate.
Because perhaps you're emotionally disoriented.
Because
you're not figuring out
because
exactly
I know the
what the
damage
problem
it is doing.
What damage? I mean, you are married, right?
I am.
If you engage in sexual act, that's prescribed by the law also?
Let me tell you something. In the Bible,
you didn't answer my question before
I'll
you
answer
tell me
it.
that. Yeah.
I will answer it clearly. Look, man, I am a Christian.
Yeah.
We believe that when God created man, the Bible says God looked at the man and he said, it is not good
for a man to live alone,
so God saw that
create
there was
a
something.
helpmate.
That loneliness was both physical and emotional. And God realized that to satisfy that loneliness, the man needed something, and God brought a woman. So the only satisfaction that has been designed for a lonely man is a woman, not another man. So we must understand, the Constitution of Ghana talks about the dignity of a person. What is the dignity of a person?
So what? You want the Appointments Committee to reject the nomination of Nanoye Letha? Simple, right?
Our association, we operate with 3
Principles.
words.
Okay.
Love, prayer, dialogue. We believe that there is nothing in this world you cannot solve with these 3 things. Love, prayer, dialogue. And we have made our case. We have presented our petition, and the nominee has been asked a question. We think that she did not respond to the questions we were asking because she was dwelling too much on human rights. So she did not take her time to explain what she thinks or what she feels or what she knows about the civil rights of women. She never educated anybody on that. So that place is still questionable to us. We think that if you are doing your private business, it's different when you are doing public office work. She was sitting in a public office seat. She was being vetted to come and become a minister of state of Ghana. At that moment, you don't have personal views. You are a spokesperson for the people of it. It is what we believe, what we have been trained up with. Our norms and values and laws are what you are supposed to go and defend. Nobody is saying you shouldn't have a private view. If you have a private view, it should be a private. You don't bring it public. So if you don't want to speak for Ghanaians, don't take our position.
So you want her kicked out? I mean, I want you to say that clearly. You want her out, or you question the competence of those who screened her for the office? We are all working for Ghana. I believe what I'm doing in the best interest of Ghana. If they think that by vetting her and approving her is in the best interest of Ghana, it's only posterity that will judge. But I think Oyelita said clearly that when approved into office, she will not. I mean, she doesn't approve of homosexuality, that she's actually a defender of their human rights. That's clear, isn't it?
Beautiful. You see, you are still talking about human rights. But we are not talking about human rights. So if
why,
you want,
why are you not talking
I'm
about
a human rights defender.
Yeah, so why are you not talking about human
Because we are not, it's not an issue. Human rights of homosexuals in Ghana is not an issue. It has never been an issue. So why do you bring up something which is not an issue? That is what is confusing some Ghanaians. They think that the issue is human rights. It's not human rights. These people live with us. Have anybody gone to a work that the boss has said you are fired?
I'm finding it very difficult to understand your points.
No,
really.
Yes, because you want me to talk about human rights, and I say it's not about human rights. Nobody has gone.
What is it about? About crime?
No.
Civil rights?
Yes, that's what it's about. Nobody has gone to a hospital for a doctor to say you are gay, I won't treat you. Nobody has gone to school and say you are fired for being a gay. Nobody has gone to market for people.
So in your mind, these problems do not exist?
It doesn't exist.
That
it's
people,
a makeup.
People who claim that they are attacked
to America,
for their sexual orientation, they're all lying, right?
You see, let me tell you something. I said something that we should look at Ghana. Who are we?
Ghanaians.
Are we people who maltreat homosexuals? Is that our nature? If something happened and one of them happens to be a gay, does it mean that...
Were you not in Ghana when there was a massive protest in Takoradi and virtually angry Muslim youths who were so angry to kick out gays from their community? And kicking out means eliminating them, because they quote as parts of the Quran, which says that if another man mounts another man, he should be killed.
In Ghana, CJA AFAC has had more demonstrations than any other group in Ghana. We don't condemn them for doing that.
Well, Bishop, I will go on to the phone lines now. I have Dr. Clement Apak, who is convener for the Forum for Governance and Justice. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
It's great to have you again on PM Express.
Thank you so much. I wish I was there in person, but I'm out in Kumasi on an assignment.
I can understand. So we've been talking about, you know, the position of a group which is called the Concerned Clergy Association of Ghana, who are opposed to homosexuality, really, and they feel that the vetting of Nana Oyelita focused too much on human rights of gay people, when really that is not an issue. I want us to drift a bit from that position to really whether overall you feel that the vetting committee did their job well by scrutinizing the people who were presented before them, and indeed we can talk about Nana Oyelita as part of it.
Yes, I think that the vetting committee certainly performed its responsibility. I think that in the run-up to Nana Oyelita presenting herself before the vetting committee as required by law, there was a lot of discussion in the public space around her, purported stance on this issue of gayism and lesbianism. And therefore, for the members on the panel, it is only natural that they would have reflected what was at the time the mood of the public. But in some ways, I also felt some reasonable level of pain regarding the fact that the question was rephrased several times, and of course, she was providing the answer based on principle indicating quite clearly that, you know, she doesn't condone that type of lifestyle. She doesn't seek to promote it. She has not promoted that. But as a human rights activist and advocate, she believed that the rights of every Ghanaian must be protected. And I would have hoped that that would have put the issue to rest. But as everyone who watched the proceedings would acknowledge, she perhaps is on record as having spent the most hours answering questions, perhaps also pertaining to the same issue. And I think that a willingness to even show how she was raised and baptized in the Catholic Church, and to speak about the fact that she was married with 4 kids, and to also refer to the fact that our laws prescribe that type of attitude, and that she was not going to intervene even when somebody caught in that type of behavior was being brought forward, I think showed that she is a very strong character, resolute, willing to state her case, acknowledging the fact that she is Ghanaian and African and a Christian, but maintaining her basic stance as a human rights activist who would defend the rights of every Ghanaian. And I think that certainly she stood very tall.
Now, Dr. Park, your group has called for a review of the ministerial vetting procedures, and you have proposed a new way of going about this. I'm referring to your statement of January 24th. Tell us, really, does it mean that you're not exactly content with the current procedures that are followed in approving a nominee?
Well, quite clearly, it's true that the Forum for Governance and Justice has proposed a new way of vetting ministerial nominees. I think that, yes, the truth is that we have not been satisfied with the process so far, going back to the beginnings of the Fourth Republic. But as a forward-thinking institution which believes in governance, we feel that perhaps it is time for us to begin looking at a much more standardized way of vetting those who have the privilege to be nominated to serve as ministers. And that is why we have proposed the NVP, what we call the Nominees Vision Paper, where we are hoping that even if not now, because the process has already begun, perhaps next time that we go through an election and the president has the prerogative to form a government by nominating people to serve as ministers, the idea is to have the nominees write a 20-page paper which would outline their vision, their understanding of the ministries for which they are being proposed to head, identifying the challenges of those ministries at the time, and then professing how they are going to tackle the issues. And we believe that if that is done, where that paper is then circulated to members of the vetting committee, they can then use that as a basis to formulate questions that they would then pose to the nominee. And then based on that, a grading system would award the nominee 70%. And then there would be another component that will solicit general responses from the nominee to compose 30%. And then the collective outcome of the 70 and 30% will be a basis to decide whether the nominee certainly has received a passing grade.
But Dr. Park,
this is what we are proposing.
But Dr. Park, I mean, seeing that, I do not recall many people who have been disqualified. Seeing that, really, it does appear that the vetting committee has become a mere formality. I recall Moses Asaga also, who was disqualified. I don't remember many more, but this appears to be a mere formality. So whether or not the procedure is changed, would it make any difference?
Well, at least I don't agree that it is a mere formality because, first of all, before the president nominates persons for these very important positions in our governance structure, it is the case that some due diligence is done to ensure that these are persons, first of all, who are Ghanaian citizens, do not have criminal records, have the competence, have the right, knowledge and educational level to be able to acquit themselves creditably. And so those are basic requirements. But what we want to do is to move it ahead of that, because, most people certainly would be able to qualify under the current status quo. Yes, you need something extra to be able to come out on top, which we do not, call into question. But we are saying that let's move it ahead so that those who are going to come, if for nothing at all, this that we are prescribing would help both those who are going to vet and even the candidate to think deeply and reflect about what their responsibilities are going to be and the challenges that they are likely to face in the ministry that they are supposed to head. So that in itself will be a motivational factor and would help them to have a much more targeted plan of how they are going to help resolve the challenges that they are going to face in their ministries. So, yes, what we have is good enough, but what we are saying is that we can do better as a nation.
Right, Dr. Park, we'll pause there and we'll take a short break, and when we return we'll discuss further the issues of the vetting and petitions that have been brought before the committee and what the appropriate ways of dealing with these petitions must be. We'll try and get to the phone lines again and speak to a member of the committee. Stay with us. Welcome back to PM Express, and we're discussing the Appointments Committee. We're asking questions as to whether they're making history or not, really. So, Bishop Benny Wood, you heard Dr. Park speak on a lot of other things, and including their suggestions that the vetting procedures should be changing. Let me just read a couple of things from their statement. So I'll throw it to you. The group says that they're calling for the revision of the vetting process as part of their role of influencing growth. So they said the new policy we're proposing will primarily focus on reforming the entire parliamentary vetting procedure, making it more forward-looking, blah, blah, blah. The new vetting policy will require every ministerial nominee to submit a 20-page nominee visionary paper document, which should contain the nominee's vision and understanding on the specified ministry and how he or she intends to achieve it. So let's narrow down on what you have been observing as the procedure of asking questions. Do you think that this is effective at all? I mean, considering that, I'm not limiting your comments on only Nana Oyelitha, but you are a group, a civil society group, and you should have a comment about the entire voting procedure. So tell me, are you impressed overall? I mean, this is not the first vetting you've witnessed, right?
I think that as we should grow, I think that we are doing things in an old-fashioned way, which it takes a lot of time and it's unnecessary. Because for me, I think that if we have a government that has been retained and he's just changing a person from one ministry to another, go back to the whole circle, waste money and all.
So you think the old minister should have stayed?
Yes,
and then continuity. No need for President Mahama to make new appointments.
The CV you have, interrogated about 4 years ago is the same CV he brought. You go over again, the same process. I also think that some of the deputy ministers and some of the ministers were not even asked about what they did in their former ministry. Very strange. And they are talking about what they're going to do.
So there was no accountability in the system.
Some of them had done nothing. They did nothing in their old ministry, and they are talking big about what they can do in the new ministry. I think that those are some of the lapses I'm seeing. 20-page visionary report to me is very huge.
It's huge.
If you know what to do, you don't talk a lot.
You don't talk a lot. So, Dr. Park, if you're still there, I threw the question to Bishop Benny Wood, who is in the studio, that he is a convener of the group which has an issue with Nana Oyelitha, and I asked him generally what he makes of the vetting procedure. Now, he says that he feels that the ministers who were appointed in the first administration, if the same party won, although a different president, it would have been convenient to still keep the same old hands and job continues, rather than wasting taxpayers' money and everybody's time to conduct a new set of vetting. Well, what's your comment about that?
Well, you know, it's easier said than done. I think that, you know, ideally that should be the case if we are looking at the financial aspect of it. But, you know, you have a new person leading a party to win re-election. The dynamics obviously have changed. And of course, the Constitution, which is the primary law of the land, actually grants the president the prerogative to form his government. And therefore, he then gets to decide how he is doing, who goes where in his government. And as long as the Constitution allows the president every 4 years, be it a president elected on a ticket of the same party or a different party, be it the same person who gets re-elected or a different person elected on the ticket of the same party, it doesn't make a difference. The president decides who should be part of his government, and the Constitution definitely allows the president to do what he is doing. So, yes, we may have concerns about the financial implications. Some have argued that why do you sort of, you know, orient, if you like, allow people to be trained for 4 years and then replace them. But the point is that there are a lot of dynamics that come into being. Times change, conditions change. Every person comes to the table with a different vision, wants to have people that he can work with. So there are many dynamics that just the financial aspect of it alone will not suffice for us to say that, you know, he should have maintained those that served with him in the previous administration of the NDC.
There have also been the arguments that those who were already ministers or deputies in other ministries and were more like swapped or promoted to new positions didn't get the chance to be questioned or queried about their performance in their previous jobs. You think this is a deficiency?
Well, if it is a deficiency, I think it is one that has to do with the general arrangement that we currently have. So if we are to, for example, take a critical look at this, then I think where we have to begin has to be with looking at the whole vetting process, which is what we are trying to address with our proposal. So perhaps the bishop and his team may also want to put in the public domain other suggestions about how we can improve the system as we go along. Truth be told, these kinds of adjustments are not regular and they take time. So we have to start floating the ideas that we believe can be adopted to improve the system now so that we can affect the next cycle of appointments and vetting. So, I mean, the truth is that we all want to improve our system. We want our democracy to grow. We want to ensure that those that we select to serve us give us their best, that they are competent, that they are skillful, that they understand the issues, and that they will commit themselves to working towards improvement of the conditions of the people. So governance is a process. It's never going to end. So I would like to encourage the bishop and his colleagues to also generate the ideas and put them out in the public domain. And I'm sure that someday we will be able to fit all of those pieces as part of the greater puzzle to solve the challenges that we face.
Well, Dr. Park, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about petitions. I mean, who can petition the Parliamentary Appointments Committee usually? Is there any law prescribing who qualifies to petition?
As far as I know, there shouldn't be a law like the Constitution allows us as citizens to be able to, if you like, raise concerns and profess solutions and to protest if and when we see it fit. Every Ghanaian citizen definitely has the right to be able to petition Parliament, not only as it pertains to the vetting of ministers, but on any matter of national importance or anything that has implications for our nation, for our people. So I think that the only component that I know of is that once you present a petition, there is always the need to sign and to provide an identifiable address and a phone number for the sake of record keeping, and also to allow those that you are petitioning to be able to then invite you for a conversation or a dialogue, or perhaps to even better understand the basis for your petition and what you seek to achieve. But there is no law around who can petition Parliament. Every Ghanaian citizen can petition Parliament. We select them and we vote for them to represent us. They are the People's Assembly. So Parliament is perhaps the arm of our three-pronged governance system that is much more open and should be receptive to the views and the concerns of the citizenry.
So tell me, do you think that the public views and opposition to certain ministers are relevant at all? I mean, I'm saying this in connection with Avoca's vetting in 2009 and Nanoye Leithers in 2013. Do you think what people feel or their views really matter in the vetting process?
Well, why not? I mean, we are the people, and our representatives sit there in representing us, and therefore we can raise issues. That doesn't mean that they must swallow hook, line, and sinker with the issues that we raise. We will bring the issues up, obviously. They will factor those issues into their deliberations. They will make assessments. And mind you, much as some may raise concerns in terms of identifying a potential negative, so too can many others come to raise and uphold the positives of the same person, or if you like, the same entity or the same institution. And all of these must be factored in before conclusions are drawn. But it should suggest that perhaps by virtue of the fact that we have not witnessed, the disapproval of nominees, that means that perhaps, the representatives do not take our concerns into account. Cannot be fair and cannot be true. I think that they do take them into account. It actually informs even some of the questioning. It informs the attitude. And whether we like it or not, the fact that we even raise those issues in themselves serve as a check or as a correction to those whose nominations may have generated the concerns that the citizenry or a section of society may bring forward.
Right, Dr. Park, finally, before I let you roll, and you can be very brief about it. If you look at the vetting of Nanoye Leithers and Professor Opoku-Agyeman, how would you describe it? Heckling or intelligent probing?
Well, I think that both ladies, women acquitted themselves very well. They were very eloquent. They responded to the questions to the best of their abilities. They were very principled in their stance. They were very polite. And I think that in terms of, the fact that they are both females, they have achieved in their own areas of endeavor. They have been successful.
So you wouldn't say they were heckled or their probing was intelligently done, right?
I wouldn't say that they were heckled at all, if for nothing at all. I thought that it was an avenue for them to showcase the fact that the women of our country can stand tall. They will be able to weather and to respond to all manner of questions without fear or favor, and they will maintain their civility. I think that their performance is something that is going to inspire a lot of young women in this country to know that they can perform, although ours is still, by and large, a male-dominated society. So I think that is actually a positive sign for us to celebrate how well they did, in spite of the time and the number of questions that they had to respond to. And if you were to ask them, I will tell you that they would have no qualms, and they would have probably told you that they could spend 6 hours responding to questions.
Thank you very much, Dr. Clement Park. Dr. Park is convener of the Forum for Governance and Justice. We're grateful for your time on PM Express.
Thank you so much for allowing me to speak on your program.
Cheers. So let's come to the studio. Bishop, would you be surprised if in a week's time the president approves Nanoye Letha?
Yeah, before I answer that question, let me say this. You know, one of the things, like
Dr.
Park said, I mean, he talked about the competence of the women and the ability to answer questions and all that. But you see, I asked somebody a question. I said, why was Muntaka removed from Ministry of Sports? Why was Richard Anani removed from Ministry of Transport? We don't just look at the competence of people. Their morality is part of leadership. You can't fix an economy without fixing its morality. So we should not play games when it suits us. You understand? If somebody is going to lead a nation, we expect the highest level of morality from the person. That is our issue. If the person is sending a signal that undermines the natural morality, that's a big issue. You understand? We should not wait till we get there before we correct it. If in a week's time, like you're saying, it happens that she goes through because, well, maybe they don't want to rock the boat or whatever. Since Professor Mills died, we have raised issues in remembrance of Professor Mills. His stand when Ghana came under threat for food and support. They were threatening us with this. That's why every Ghanaian is upset that something that was used to threaten us, we are now appointing somebody who on our thoughts, we think will be an influence against that. Let me say this quickly. I said that since Professor Mills died, I've never been to his tomb, but I've decided that if the president do not respond to the issues or do not explain to Ghanaians why somebody who at the time Ghana was under attack seemed to be the only contrary voice to the professor has been appointed into his government, he doesn't say anything about it. The day she will be sworn into office, I will go and lay a wreath at Professor Mills' tomb.
And what will be the purpose of that? Are you invoking the spirit of Mills to perhaps intervene?
I'll just go and say, I've not said bye-bye to him yet, but I will do that. I'll just go and say, have a peaceful rest.
I have some comments that are coming in. Bishop Benny Wood, well, I don't know what to say. I'm speechless. But, well, here your comments are. I have a lot of them. So, Akpi Roland says that gayism and lesbianism are not part of our culture. Fire burn them all. And Harun Idrisu says, Nanoye Letha must not be giving the nod because she failed to tell Ghanaians her stand on the gay issue. Kofi Richie says, why is the clergy mute on fornication? Is it now part of our culture? Richard Boahini Ajimang says, I think our clergymen are ill-informed on the gay issues. Nanoye Letha is doing her job as an advocate for human rights. What are the men of God doing about false prophets? Kofi Sam says, what the minority did is a breach of the Constitution. They need to be punished. And Conrad Doni Atakra says that Nanoye should not be giving the nod because she has not made it clear and must drop her pride and apologize to Ghanaians on her gay comment. Our Constitution is based on our tradition. This is not America. And then text messages also. Atu sent a text to say that what about kleptomaniacs? Do they also have rights? Because naturally they are thieves. Please ask the bishop why they visit the prison to see convicted criminals who have wronged the society. Why do they want to dehumanize homosexuals? Thanks for your text, Atu. And then this is from Philip, an old saint, says, I would like to congratulate Bishop Wood for championing this issue. From this one is from Malam. You didn't write your name, but Malam S, I guess that's your name. Why should appointment committee ask sector-specific questions only for the president to later reassign them without new sector vetting? Well, we would have put that to Dr. Apak. Unfortunately, Apak is gone. And Lamisi in Bolgatanga says, good evening, Steve. What kind of bishop wears elaborate rings like this and has the moral right to represent the clergy? There are more pressing issues for them to deal with instead of wasting our time. That's your view, Lamisi from Bolga. And I'll put that to Bishop Benny Wood when I finish reading these messages. And Yaoga of Drapon says, when did they become concerned clergies? Selfish and malicious so-called clergies. And Alukus from Tamale. Alukus is a regular texter and person who puts a lot of comments on our Facebook wall. Alukus says credibility should be the hallmark of every appointed minister, a nominee or a statesman. Parochial and selfish political interests must be eschewed in our body politic. Oyelitha performs abysmally in my candid view. Her approval must be given a second thought. And Agor Francis Botoku says the MPP is just asking 2016 is just making, I beg your pardon, 2016 easier for the NDC. The leadership is confused. They don't even know. I'm sorry, we're not discussing MPP NDC here tonight. And Philip says, I'm impressed about the stance of Bishop Wood. He should continue with it. Old saint, well done. And Bakachir, yeah, I got it right. It's still Bakachir. Well, it's still not part of St. John's. House Party of Bolga says, she said the issue of her son is private. If I agree to sit on that vetting seat, if you agree to sit on that vetting seat, nothing of yours is private anymore. That should go, and I admire the NDC for taking their own woman on. And Wendy from Malam says, let's stop being religious. We are in the dispensation of grace. All these people need our prayers and not petitions. I would accept her because she's capable. Love, which is the greatest commandment, must override us all. Please, what about people who defend the rights of armed robbers, murderers, etc.? Is society not frowning against these vices? Bishop Benny Wood. Lots of the comments, some congratulating you, some saying you're wasting your bloody time and you're wearing a lot of rings. Tell us about your rings, maybe.
Well, these
are they of religious connotations?
Yes, they are. This is a bishop's
So this is a bishop's ring.
Yes.
Is there any particular rule that a bishop ring must be of a certain type? So tell us about the ring. Is it like gold, silver?
Well,
or
this is silver.
This is silver
with a
emerald in it.
Yes.
So
see, this one has a cross.
This one has a cross.
And it was a gift somebody gave to me when I went to the US.
But you put it on your marriage finger. Is that where it's supposed to be?
I want Jesus to be closer to my marriage.
So you have in total 3 rings. Can you show us your rings,
that's
please?
it, yeah.
So I mean, people have issues with that. So for example, if you're wearing such elaborate rings, then you shouldn't be talking about your resistance against this. Basically, it's a survival issue. Really,
you see the point. It's very interesting that.
Do you see homosexuality as a health issue or a moral issue?
Donnie McClurkin, one of the greatest gospel musicians right now in America, was a former gay person. We've seen a lot of people go in and come out of it, become great people, you understand? So we are not saying that because they are gays, they are less human.
I think we're having bad feedback from your microphone.
I'm saying that
clipped behind your shit. So if you can speak louder.
Very well. We are not saying that because they are gays, they are less human. Look, there are gays who play soccer. There are gays who are managers. There are gays who are rich people and businessmen. All we are saying is that
there are gays who are top musicians.
See, human beings were created perfect. Sin make us defective. All of us have defects. We cannot call for legislation to back our defects. We all have it. I have it, you have it. Everybody has it. But we don't go clamoring for legislation to back our defect. We think it's a defect because we help people come out of it. So if you give yourself, we'll help you out. But once you try to present it as if it is my right, then you don't give the person room to analyze and assess.
But that's the question I asked you. I mean, what you do in the privacy of your bedroom is your right. I cannot come and ask you how you choose to have sex with your wife, for example.
Let me tell you.
So you shouldn't be intruding if another man decides to go to bed with another man.
Do you know that the police can go for a warrant and enter your bedroom to search the bedroom?
How so?
If they suspect,
if a policeman enters my bedroom,
if they suspect,
I will sue the policeman.
No, wait.
with all the energy I have
if they
in my
suspect,
world,
police-
if there's
police-
no
police work
specific
with thieves.
instructions on particular things
If they
they're
suspect
looking
that
for in my
something
room,
untoward is going on in your bedroom, they can.
like I've hidden some arms.
Yeah, so
or-
they believe.
Of
So,
course,
so
yes.
crime can be committed in your bedroom. So what you do in your bedroom can also be something that can affect humanity. So we cannot just say that because you are doing it in your bedroom, it is okay. If it's a crime, it's a crime. No matter where you do it, when you are caught, you'll be punished for
So
it.
tell me what the way forward for your group is. What do you want? You want, one, the country as Ghana to make clear rules and clearly state our stance against homosexuality in line with late Professor Mills' stance that homosexuality will not thrive in our country.
Definitely, I think that Professor Mills has become a symbol of our Ghana's policy on homosexuality, and we should protect it and defend it. Number two, we want people to understand that the person is not the issue. It is his practice that is an issue. Jesus.
But how can the private practice
Let me
be
explain
an
to you.
issue for you? That's
No,
the whole argument,
because the
isn't
law,
it?
we have a law that is against that private practice of the person. There's a law.
So a law regulating
That's
the
why I'm
private
not quoting.
life
You see, I'm not
of
quoting
somebody.
Bible. I'm talking about
But
the law.
you haven't even quoted the law well.
No,
Because the law prescribes that if you are seen or there's evidence to suggest that
No.
you are soliciting for the act.
I'm talking about Section 104. Section 104 says that, of Criminal Code says that action is a crime. It's not me who made it. It's the law. It's as simple as that. Unless somebody comes and take it off. That's why Nana later said, as long as the law remains. So once that the law is there and has been applied, the status quo must remain till it has been overruled or changed. Jesus said something when a woman who was caught in adultery was brought to him. He wrote something on the ground, and then he said, anybody who thinks he has not committed a sin
Should cast the first stone.
Everybody left. You know what Jesus said? He said, if they don't condemn you, I don't also condemn you, but go and sin no more. So that's the Jesus principle we want the human rights activity to apply. That if somebody is doing something, we are not dealing with the person, we are dealing with his acts. I got counseling from people because even though I'm a pastor, I fall short in so many things. I listen to advice. Somebody tell me not to do something I think is good for me, I will not.
Tell me which areas you fall short as a pastor.
I don't want to be the center of the issue. The issue here, let's deal with
But
the
you
issue.
are human. They are
God.
human.
I am.
That's what I'm saying.
If I
and
start,
you've just told me that there are areas you fall short.
Oh, definitely.
And then
That
there
is
are
why
areas
I
that
pray,
homosexuals
I read
also fall short.
and I'm
right?
saying that where we fall short, we don't go for laws to back it.
So where you have fallen short, you didn't go for laws to back
I
it.
went to God
So which
for
one?
forgiveness, so
Which,
they should
which
go to
falling
God.
short did you fall short? Maybe I can compare it to the gay man who fell short.
That is the day you want to interview me as
On
a
that.
bishop, I can tell you everything.
So these people need prayers, right? You would say they need
Counseling.
prayers
Some of
and
them need
counseling.
counseling, some of them need prayers.
And you say that it's a defect, so they need psychiatric re-evaluation, right? You think they are sick in their minds?
I don't think they are sick. I think that, you can't say somebody who loves two women is sick. You get my point. I think that it is inordinate desire. You get my point. It's extreme lust. I don't think it's a sickness. I don't think so. I think it's extreme lust. We pray for people like that. They get delivered and all kinds of things. So I don't want us to put them in a picture. Somebody asked me a question. Let me say this. Somebody asked me a question. Do you want them to be put in prison? I say, even if the law is going to be applied, it should be a reformative law, not a punitive one.
Law.
We should get something that can reform them. You understand? Because that's not how God created
Bishop,
them.
I'll ask you to do one thing. Say a prayer for our gay brothers and sisters who have been listening to us and perhaps are thinking you're persecuting them. Say a prayer for them before we leave the
They
studio.
love me.
They do?
They're watching me now
Yes.
because they know me.
Okay.
You understand? They know who I am. I am a person for the masses.
Say a prayer for that.
Thank you.
Your friends.
Father, I just want to thank you for this great moment in our nation where we have to make a choice and look at the future of this nation. It is my prayer that you give us the strength, the enablement to be able to champion this nation's cause to the standard God you desire. The issues we have raised, are issues we have raised out of love. We believe our brothers and sisters who find themselves in that condition can be saved. We believe God created them in his image, and God wants to see himself manifesting in them. We pray in the name of our Lord Jesus that God, you will not allow anybody to take advantage of them and allow them to continue to stay in a condition, God, your power can take them off. I pray for the president. Guide him and lead him in the path that will make this nation greater and stronger. Thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Bishop Prince Benny Wood is spokesman for the Concerned Clergy Association of Ghana. My name is Stephen Enti, and thanks to you for your messages and texts and comments on our Facebook call. We were unable to be joined by Kofi Bento. He couldn't join us. And thanks to you, Dr. Clement Apak, convener for the Forum of Governance and Justice, for your time. Join us again tomorrow for another edition of PM Express Personality Friday. Good night.